I'll tell you a story, but the first thing you have to understand is time doesn't work the way you think it does. You can call me Oracle, no one's talking to you. Welcome to the cult. Alright. We are into Changeling the Lost. We're going to talk about Fey Main. Main or Fey Main is a changeling or other Fey's true form, which is concealed by the mask. Changeling Main is almost never changes so far as Changeling's original form to make them unrecognizable. They may grow or shrink a few inches, but they are very unlikely to gain or lose a foot or more in height. Hair and eye color may change, their facial features may subtly shift, but the appearance of this stolen human is never completely overwritten. It is said that it's possible to change completely, but those who do never find their way home, having lost the ability to recognize their mortal selves. The changes are physical, but do not appear to be genetic. DNA analysis cannot determine a goblin genome, for example. It also seems impossible for a changeling to pass on their fey qualities to any offspring, not that the lost have much by the way of fertility after the change, that is. Yeah, it's my understanding that becoming a changeling of the lost actually screws with your ability to breed. Which isn't cool. It just isn't. Upon returning to the mortal world, changelings may be relieved to find that physical manifestations of the Fey Main do not reveal themselves to humans. Changelings are protected by an enchantment that hangs over all things Fey, concealing them from mortal eyes. This mask, as they call it, may seem a small boon compared to myriad other challenges they face in the mortal world, but it is a boon nonetheless. Their mains, however, have not disappeared or faded upon leaving Fairy. Other lost will see changelings quite clearly. As will true Fey, should they come across changeling. Likewise, should the changeling venture into the hedge or Arcadia proper, they'll find that everyone, including humans, see their Fey main and not their human guys. So basically, if you were to be true Fey and you wanted to unmask, so to speak, you do Samakarati and Babakarati, associate with, insinuate yourself into Pindikaroti Vidyadayabu, associate with, become a supernatural being. More because you already are one for the Presideati Abba Mushkati, reduced to order, disrobe. And that's how you would, disrobe your human seeming to, fully embrace, being a Fae. And that's how that would work. Alright. And since we're talking about that, we're going to talk about Wyrd. Wyrd is the power of the fairy. A changeling's Wyrd rating represents their affinity for the power of fairy. The greater a changeling's Wyrd, the stronger their mystical prowess and their fey nature is. Interestingly enough, the strictly speaking humans from Games of Threa, they're called Wyrdlings because they're supposed to be deeply tied to the Wyrd. The Wyrd isn't, before I even knew about any of this. They were. The Wyrd is an enigmatic force tied to the essence of Arcadia and is a supernatural trait of all changelings. Some portray the Wyrd as little more than one's ability to manipulate the magic of true Fae, but others see it as something sentient, even divine, representing fate itself with the grand scheme of things. All changelings can feel the magic of fairy pulsing through their veins. The transformative power within is called the Wyrd and represents how much the character has been changed by the effects of glamour. Most Lost characters begin play knowing how to tap into only a small fraction of this tremendous power. As they experiment with their new powers, however, they find their magic growing in strength, their memories of their servitude returning with greater clarity, and even some of their fundamental human limits pushed aside, allowing them to develop all manner of astounding capabilities, both magical and mundane. Just as anything else from Fairy, this power comes at a price. The more Wyrd a changeling has, the more volatile and intense his emotions become. Ooh, volatile. Ultimately, his passions may become so intense that even friends and allies are put off by the intensity of the character's feelings. Man, I know how that feels. Maintaining the illusion of humanity becomes increasingly difficult, as well as elements of changeling's true form begin to poke through their facade, further widening the rift between ordinary life. As if that were not enough, a changeling with a high Wyrd finds that they become bound by certain superstitions and folktale weaknesses. Benefits of Wyrd. Wyrd affects a changeling's ability to manifest his magical energy, representing how many points of glamour a character can spend a single turn. Wyrd also limits how much glamour a changeling can contain at any one time. The higher his Wyrd, the more glamour he can store within himself. Yeah, that makes sense. Changeling who have spent the time learning to master the magical nature are capable of absorbing large amounts of power than those who have not to mention ability to use it more quickly and efficiently in some times of duress. Interestingly enough, because I have all of the various kinds of mantra bala or mana in Threa and Glexia coded to the type of magic that they're the flavor of mantra bala that they are associated with, essentially. Wyrd mantra bala or weird magical power is clear. I don't really have a better explanation than that. It's just clear. Which makes sense, I guess, with how opaque Wyrd is in the normal sense. Changelings with Wyrd of 6 or higher can increase their attributes and skills past 5 dots. You have higher than 6 Wyrd, apparently you can be more than human. That's cool. Wyrd determines how many goblin fruits a changeling can carry in the mortal world in a given time. Goblin fruit. I wonder if those are like Popman follows. I bet I could make them like Popman follows. A changeling Wyrd rating also determines how many basic pledges, specifically vows, he may have injected at a given time. A changeling may only maintain a number of glamour-infused vows at one time equal to their Wyrd plus 3. If he wishes to adopt a new vow, but is currently at its maximum, he must either be released from one of his existing vows, requiring the permission of the other parties involved, or he can choose to break one of them and accept the penalties for doing so. Breaking those deals ain't a light deal. It ain't a light thing. Just saying. If he attempts to craft another vow while at its maximum, it simply fails, or any other changeling involved are aware that the pledge was not mystically binding. A changeling Wyrd rating may also affect their dreams, specifically his recollection of his time in the fairy. The stronger the Wyrd becomes, the more he begins to begin to dream of his fairy, his keeper, time in servitude, and other changelings he may have seen there. A character's Wyrd is used to resist the effects of many mystical powers, whether the tricks and contracts of other changelings or the strange talents of other supernatural denizens of the world. Darkness, the more dots he has, the more dice he had played to make resistant rolls against these powers. Wyrd also allows a changeling to resist the ravages of time. The higher his or her Wyrd grows, the longer their lifespan grows. That makes sense. Insight Bedlam, although raising a changeling's Wyrd threatens to distance him somewhat from ordinary humans around him, his attunement to the primal power within him allows him to tap into raw emotional energies that even other changelings cannot normally access. By calling upon his own extreme emotions, the changeling can channel that energy into a desired emotional response and send it surging through those around him, overwhelming nearby targets with highly concentrated passions and urges. Subject who fail to resist become consumed by passion of the changeling as released and abandon other activities in favor of following the whims of their incited emotions. Yeah, Bedlam's pretty scary, by the way. Drawbacks of Wyrd: it makes you more visible. And you'd be addiction. Changeling whose Wyrd rises to 6 or higher become physically addicted to and psychologically fixated on obtaining glamour, requiring increasingly regular infusions of fresh glamour in order to sate their body's increasingly alien cravings. That's not cool. Like, you basically have to become an Abba Vatala or a glamour vampire if you get a certain level of Wyrd. That's wild to me. As the changeling becomes more infused with frailties. As the changeling becomes more infused with power glamour, some of the stranger rules and limitations begin to apply to her as well. These quirks of her fey nature are called frailties. Frailties come in two forms: taboos and banes. A taboo is a behavioral restriction that either compels or prohibits changeling to commit certain acts in specific situations. A bane is something that causes a changeling injury, usually an item, but occasionally a type of person or situation. Damage caused by banes, both major and minor, automatically bypasses all form of armor and magical protection and cannot be healed in any means until the character is removed from the presence of the bane. You can also decrease your Wyrd if you need to. But that's more something like... That's basically like distancing yourself, like actively distancing yourself from the magic of fairy. That's basically how it works. Alright, thank you for watching. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe.